Welcome to the Kingdom Corner. I'm Andrew, and with me, as always, is my good friend, Mr. Dale Baker. How are we doing this morning?
Man, Happy New Year, bud. Or Happy New Year's Eve. I'm ready. Let's go. 2025. We're living in the future. It could not be any better.
That's right. That's right. I mean, if you would have told me 20 years ago, sign a contract in, 2025, you know, uh, or through 2025, I was just, I'll sign that. In 2025, I'm gonna be flying my own car. So that feels like forever away. That's the future we're talking about, bud. And now here we are living in 2025.
Living in it.
So,
It's
hey.
amazing.
And what do you know? In 2025, the Chiefs are still a dynasty. Who would have thought, 20 years ago, even, or even 10 years ago, that the Chiefs would be the team with the dynasty?
Yeah, I know. Even, man, if you would have told me the Chiefs would have won 3 Super Bowls, I would have said, man, you're crazy. There's no way.
And I would have taken it all day long, too.
All day long. Let's go
So,
for four.
might as well. Might as well. So, hey, we could be having four this year. So, three in a row, even, man. That is incredible. So, hey,
Yeah.
today we're going to be breaking down and talking about the Chiefs and Broncos game, the last game of the season. Is anybody even going to start? I mean, what about some of these injuries we have? Are they going to be able to overcome some of these before the playoffs start? And how good did the Chiefs look, or how concerned are you with this Chiefs team going into the playoffs? All that and more coming up right here. So come hang out with us.
Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking right side. He wants it. A comeback cut. It is caught by Kelsey. Touchdown! Kansas City. The game is over. The Kansas City Chiefs are champions.
How about those Chiefs?
All right, Dale. So the Chiefs and Broncos this Sunday. We just found out in the last day or so when these final games are going to take place. So this final game against the Broncos is going to happen Sunday afternoon at 3:25 our time here in Central
Yeah.
Time. So hey, even the dog
Even the dogs are
is glad to
excited.
know.
Yes, is excited about it.
That's right. So how do you feel about this matchup? Do you think the Chiefs are even going to play anybody? That's the first question.
Well, they had to play somebody, right? And so
Yeah.
I
Well,
guess we could take. I think this would be forfeit.
I
I
guess you
mean,
could. That would be
I
silly,
mean,
and
yeah,
I
it'd be
mean
silly,
everybody in the league would hate you, including your own fans. But
right? Yeah. So
uh,
no, we're not going to forfeit. Well, obviously Carson Wentz is going to go out there, and what I've heard early reports, I think Ian Rappaport or someone else had said, what's the other guy from ESPN? Adam
Adam Schefter,
Schefter. That's right. He said that like Carson Wentz first half, and then they're back up the second half, and so is what they're
their
hearing right now.
backup isn't
Yeah.
Carson Wentz their backup.
Well, the
They're,
backup to him.
they're back, so they're going to activate another quarterback for this game.
Yeah,
Is what you're
yeah.
saying?
That's what they're reporting. The insiders are reporting. So we'll see if that happens. And so, yeah, I think especially the quarter Carson Wentz is playing for another contract. So whether with the Chiefs as a backup or somewhere else, and so yeah, we'll see him. I think we'll see P Ryan. I think we'll see Carson Steele. I think we'll see maybe Hollywood Brown for a couple series just to get him right, and then I'm sure we'll see Xavier Worthy because he's young. But yeah, I think the superstars that are a little banged up, I think we're going to see a lot of people sitting. So I'll be interested to see what the defense looks like, is because I think we can probably predict what offensive players are going to be sitting, but it's going to be interesting to see what defensive players are be sitting.
Well, I'll say these insiders might say they're going to activate another quarterback, and they might in case Carson Wentz gets hurt.
Yeah,
I highly doubt somebody other than the Carson Wentz is going to play. And I only say that because we've had this position now for many years where we've had
right,
that seed locked up for the playoffs where we've set guys the last week, and Andrew's never
yeah,
done that before. Why would we do it this year?
right, yeah.
I mean, do you want your backup to only get half a game of experience with your team
But
and everything else? I mean, it is possible Mahomes could get hurt. He's already got a tweaked ankle, right?
right,
It wouldn't take much to get it again. What if he has to go in for even a series, right? Where a Chad Henne kind of guy's got to go in there and lead a touchdown drive in order to move on to the next round. Do you want Carson Wentz to have as much experience as possible or only a half of experience?
well, I think like part of it is he is a veteran, right? He's been in the league for several years, and so if it's Andy Reid, we trust, man. He knows best, and Brett Veach probably needs to look at who we keeping next year and thinking about that already. Are we going to be able to afford Carson Wentz? Are we going to go with this backup to the backup, and let him run, So, but yeah, I do think
So when Chad Henne was here, he wasn't a veteran.
no, he was, and he played.
He'd been in the league longer than Carson Wentz has.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to tell me that the only reason he's not playing the full games because he's a veteran. Chad Henne.
Well, listen, you're acting like I'm not reporting this.
Oh,
I'm reporting
you are. This is the first I've heard of it, so it's as if you're reporting it, bud.
I am reporting it.
It is you.
Yeah. So yeah, it's me reporting, but I'm reporting what the report. So it's don't shoot the messenger is what I'm saying. Is if don't be surprised. That's all I'm telling you. Don't be surprised if you see Carson Wentz leave.
You ever heard the Sparta? The messengers there are held accountable for their words, just as if it was a king. So messengers are held responsible for their.
All right. Words. Well, we'll see next week if what I'm reporting will come true. And if it does, I expect a public apology on this podcast.
Okay. It might. But I'll say this. This is the first I've heard of it, so I'm just
all right.
But I'll just say, in all the years Andy Reid has been here, what's he been here? 9-10 years now? Something like that?
Well, how long have we won the division?
Quite a while. 9 years.
9 years.
All right, so he's been here 9 years. In 9 years, he's never done that.
Yeah.
So you're telling me now that 9 years into the gig is like, you know what? Let's try something new. I know it's been working. We won 3 Super Bowls, but let's try something different. That's what I'm basing it off of. Why is he going to try something new and throw off the rhythm of what's already been happening?
Let's see what we got. Let's go best quarterback, best option. Maybe this kid in the I don't even know who our backup is. I don't know who backs up Carson Wentz, but maybe he's showing some promise in practice. Maybe he's showing little things, and hey, we're going to see what he looks like in the game.
Well, they pulled somebody else over, I know, middle of the season because he was on their practice squad, got poached by another team due to injuries over there. So, but I think it was, I forget his name, it's like Odokin or something like that. He was with the teams in the in training camp for the last few years.
Okay.
The kind of mobile quarterback.
Oh, he played for the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Yeah, I think that's him.
Yeah. We'll see what he's got.
Was it Odokin or something like that?
Yeah,
I forget his name.
No, I don't know.
I think that's who
I'm trying to look it up. I'm trying to look it up as you're talking.
All right. Well, I'm pretty sure that's who it is. I could be wrong, but I think that's who they signed after their backup to the backup got picking up by another team. So we'll see. But I think that a lot. Well, here, let's start with this though. So yes, there's going to be some people who are not going to play this Sunday. I think we can know that. But the Chiefs have already got the 1 seed locked up. So they're already going to have a bye in the playoffs. They don't have a first round game. And then if they set this game too, was it 22 days, right? Between
22, 23 days,
If they don't play this week too.
Yeah.
That's a long time in the NFL.
That's a long time.
I mean, really, that's almost a month off. You're 8 days away from a month.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to be complete. I mean, that is insane to think about. I mean, how fresh they will be. Because, you're not worried about Mahomes, are you? Being off 3 weeks? You're not worried about him being off 3 weeks, are you?
Not too much. But I'll say this.
Travis Kelce? You're not worried about him.
With him? No. I'm not worried
Chris Jones?
Not really. Travis Kelce's the one I'm least worried about.
Okay.
Because he's been playing for so long, and he sees the field. He plays more a mental game as much as he does a physical game.
Right.
And the mental side of it is going to be there.
Yeah.
Whereas Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes, they play a mental game too. Not saying they don't, but they have to rely a lot more on their physical strength and accuracy and get off and all those things a lot more than Travis Kelce does.
Right.
And so if you're the coach, say you're in Andy Reid's shoes here, do you sit all your guys, even the ones who might not be that banged up, this last game and give them 22 days off?
Yeah, I think it just depends. I think so. I am of the belief that you should play your offensive line, your starters, all the way through. Just because I think with Tooney moving out, I mean, he's done a great job, but I think there's still chemistry they can work on and fine tune some things. I think like your younger players like Xavier Worthy, I think you probably need to play him just because, 22 days off for him, I think would be a disaster. And
He's just starting to hit his stride
yeah,
here.
he's just starting to hit his stride. And I think you
Yeah.
play Hollywood Brown. I think you play him a little bit just because of he's coming back from an injury, and you play obviously, and see. I mean, you don't have to play him the whole game, but I know he's itching to get in the field as well. But I don't know how much playing those wide receivers help because really it's all about the timing with Mahomes, not so much with Carson Wentz. But I also think you can like in practice you can simulate like game time speed and game time scenarios where Mahomes can still, I'm saying for Mahomes, not necessarily for the younger guys, but Mahomes, you can stay sharp, right?
Yeah.
You can do different things. So yeah, as long as he's playing at a high level in practice. And when we know Mahomes, I mean, it's been reported about how he does extra work with his trainers even after practice. I mean, the guy's committed to being great. And so that's why he is great. And so, yeah, I think if he sits everybody, I wouldn't be worried. Because Andy Reid knows what he's doing.
That is true. He does. I'll give him credit for knowing what he's doing. But I'll say this too. Even in practice, no matter what you try to simulate, you cannot simulate a game.
No. Well,
speed. I mean, even if you're going hard at practice, it's not the same as a game, and especially not the same as a playoff game. And so you're going from taking a week off of playing any game to all of a sudden you're now in playoff mode. And coming into that, being off 22 days, I think, I don't know, I wouldn't do that if I was the head coach. I would play my guys. I'm not saying I play them the whole game.
Right.
I played them at least one series, unless they had a 3 and out, then I probably play them 2 series. But I play them one series just to get them a few reps in there and say, all right, you guys, it doesn't matter if you score. I mean, you want them to, but
right, yeah.
But even if they don't score, as long as they're moving the ball a little bit, it's like, all right, you guys got your reps in. Let's let these other guys go. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Unless somebody's really injured, like a Chris Jones, we don't know how bad his calf really is.
Right.
Anything that might be strained more or could get a more difficult injury or anything like that, those guys are not going to play. But if it was me, all those other guys would play at least one series just to get them those reps. Because that's 22 days. That is a long time.
That is a long time. And I think that, to your point, I mean, I think like because last Wednesday was the last time they played. And so they're even kind of getting a bye right now, with being off and for an extended amount of time. And then, that's a long time not to play. And so I do agree. But it's like a lose-lose situation, right? If you play them and someone gets hurt, Travis Kelce or Pat Mahomes sprains his ankle again, like people are mad. But I mean, things happen. It's called football. And then if you rest them 22 days and then you lay a goose egg in the divisional round of the playoffs, well, everyone's like, well, you should have played them, right? And so, I mean, really, Andy's in a hard spot, I'd say, and Brett Veach that are making decisions to say, okay, are we playing players? Who are we playing? What are we going to do? How are we going to do this? And so, but I think all of them are willing to play. I think if Andy Reid said, Travis, you're playing, he'd be like, okay. Chris Jones, you're going to play. Okay. I think they would all play if they were called on. But, I bet they had to have a pretty strong conversation with Pat, like, hey, you're not playing. He's like, well.
I mean, you watch even Patrick Mahomes when he comes off with an injury, like when he was injured in that last game with that ankle injury, right? Or 2 games ago, whenever it was. And you saw him on the sidelines arguing to get back in, and he had to be convinced, like, no, you're done for the day. This game's over. We already got it wrapped up. We don't need you. Rest. And he was arguing to get back in. Then afterwards, like, oh yeah, we decided it's best for me not to go back in. I thought you can say that now. I saw your reaction on the sideline. That's not what you were thinking in that moment.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he's a competitor. He's going to want to get out there. And so leading up to the game, he can probably be convinced that he doesn't need to play, shouldn't play. But if you were telling him in that moment, hey, you're done, he might say, give me one more series. Give me one more.
Yeah, one more.
I need to put that ball in the end zone first.
Right. And man, he has been putting that ball in the end zone, man.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Chiefs going into the playoffs here? Are you feeling confident, or is there any part that you're worried about?
Well, I'm an optimist and probably, just always glass half full. But I feel probably the most confident I have felt all year with the Chiefs and their offense and just how they move the ball. I mean, that Steelers defense is really, really good.
Yeah.
Probably three of the best defensive linemen in the NFL right now, and they protected Mahomes. He threw darts and to wide open guys, and we have seen the effects of Hollywood Brown. Right, what we've been waiting for, all
Yeah.
year. We are seeing it pay off because the field seems like it has opened up so much for Travis Kelce, for Xavier Worthy. D Hop catches everything thrown his way. I mean, he was never been a worry, but just incredible to see how the offense is just transformed with one player.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and on that same line in that last game, Travis Kelce set the all-time Chiefs
Oh yeah, that's right.
touchdown record, passing Tony Gonzalez, breaking that tie, and dunking the ball over the field goal post. Fantastic. I'll take the penalty for that kind of celebration when you
Yeah,
do that kind of monumental thing every time. The flip side is the touchdown before the first one of the game. Xavier Worthy gets a touchdown and makes a dumb penalty. One that I understand is a common thing among young people today for whatever reason. I don't understand it, but for whatever reason, they think it's great to do. And so he gets penalty. And those kind of penalties, those mental penalties, those can hurt you, especially in the playoffs if you're not in the game, if your head's not in
yeah,
the game.
yeah. Well, I thought he was just showing his abs. I thought he was just. I don't know
Well,
what they
that's what
thought.
I
I don't.
thought.
I don't know what they thought he was showing off. I mean, like there was nothing there.
Well,
It
I
was
know
his
that.
abs. It was just his abs.
That's
Or
what
maybe.
I thought at first too. I thought, what is this guy doing? Just lifting up his shirt? Like what? And then apparently has a lot more innuendo to that than what I even realized at the time. Because
Oh yeah.
if something is there, you understand it. But when nothing's
Yeah.
there, you're like, I don't get it because there's nothing there.
Well,
But
then how can you get a flag when there's nothing there? I mean, that would be crazy if there was. But anyway, I
that's a whole
digress.
nother
Yeah.
conversation. But yeah,
Now, I tell you what was most impressive about the Chiefs' offense or defense was their defensive line getting 5 sacks. That was, I
without
mean,
Chris Jones.
without Chris Jones, that was very impressive. Like you have been saying, I think you've been keeping me sane. You said admitted he was going to get better. He's going to keep getting. I mean, he's just now coming off. What do you have?
Yeah.
ACL tear, and he's just been put in the game. And so, I mean, like he's going to get better. He's going to get more reps, and it showed. I mean, he was getting pressures and then helping, Russell Wilson move in the pocket, and then that will allow Korafis and Mike Dana, my guy, get sacks. And
Yeah.
so, it was like it's just coming together. Everything's as we've been kind of saying, and we can kind of see it where everything's just kind of coming together for the Chiefs' defense and their offense.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So the Chiefs offense, they could have passed 31 points
Oh
against
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
Steelers.
Oh yeah.
They missed the extra point because he got pushed way back for that personal penalty against Xavier Worthy. And they went for two trying to make up for it, didn't get that, and they still ended up with 29 points. I mean, they could have probably even should have had 31 points in that game. So
Right.
but still, they have not scored 30 points this year, and they're still 15-1. So
Right.
people can say all they want to about, well, the only thing the teams that haven't scored 30 have in common, other than the Chiefs, that they have losing records. Like, well, that might be the case, but you're forgetting that this Chiefs team not only has an offense, but they have a defense.
Yeah.
That's what makes a great, potent team. So even without some of these key injuries that they've had this year, they've still been performing well. I mean, Joshua Williams had a great breakup pass on a beautifully thrown ball to Mike Williams and barely got some fingers on it. Maybe Russell Wilson should put a little more air under it and would have got there. But, hey, those young guys, they're getting that playing time with Jalen Watson being out, and it's starting to show. They're starting to come through.
Well, and I think like that, like go back to your Xavier Worthy comment where, like you got to know, especially in playoffs, you can't get stupid penalties.
Yeah.
And I think like Hicks got a stupid one after like breaking up a fourth down play. And like, so I'm sure Andy's pounding this. Like we cannot beat ourselves. And so even though you did a great play, you cannot do that because if it was third down, guess what? They just got a first down. You just got to make sure you're being smart. And so hopefully they're coaching. Those guys are learning like there's a time and place and do it on the sideline. Don't do it over a guy, so let's not get dumb penalties where we're beating ourselves. Let's run
to the sideline with your team and celebrate.
Exactly.
There.
Yeah. And so I know Pickens is a mouthy little guy and So I'm sure
Yeah,
he deserved it, but 15 yards is big in
real
the
big.
NFL. Yeah, big, especially when on a turnover where you could have had it like at 35. I thought it was close. So, but yeah, I think making mental errors like that, we got clean up, and I'm sure Andy's hitting that hard.
Yep, for sure. So the Chiefs, basically blow out the Steelers,
Yeah.
and so now they come into this last game against the Broncos. Their offense is clicking as much as they've clicked all year. And
Hmm.
I agree with you. This is the most confident I felt about the Chiefs all year long. Their
Yeah.
offense is clicking. Their defense is starting to create pressure even without Chris Jones. I mean, it's just fantastic watching all these things happen here. And now we're going into this last game where we don't even have to play our guys because we already have the 1 seed locked up with a one-loss Chiefs team, the only one-loss team in the NFL. So
Yeah.
even if they get to 2 losses, they're still going to have the best or even tied for the best record in the NFL. So
Right.
fantastic. And so what do you expect in this Broncos game? I know you said you expect a lot of them to not play, but what do you really expect to see, or what do you hope to even see in this game? Anything at all, or is this just a preseason game you're just watching for the fun of it?
Yeah, this is gonna be a game where we watch. I always think like even Carson Wentz is good enough to win a game,
Yeah,
especially against the Broncos. And so I think like I would love to see the fact that like, hey, you just ruined the Broncos' chance of going to the playoffs. Now that means
yeah,
Miami or the Bengals get in the playoffs, which again, not too worried about because they're not very good teams. There's a reason why they're still on in the hunt, I guess it's called.
yeah.
And so yeah, like that's no big deal. And so yeah, I think it would be a great statement for the Chiefs to like, hey, let's ruin this division rival opportunity to go to the playoffs. And I'm sure people don't want to hear that, especially Bronco fans. But I think yeah, you should play hard and you should try to win this game at all costs.
Yep, I agree. So it's going to be a little bit more than a preseason game, but
Yeah,
if the Chiefs win or lose, I don't think any Chiefs fan is going to be mad about it at all, because there's nothing that is going to change for the Chiefs as far as their seeding goes in the playoffs based on the outcome of this game. The only outcome that's going to make a difference for is for other teams, and potentially, I guess, who the Chiefs could potentially play in the next round too. So there's not many betting lines for this game as we usually jump into. There's just too many unknowns with players who are going to play or not going to play.
yeah.
And so right now we're just going to go on these two lines that we have. But currently we're sitting at our betting lines. Dale is 16 and 19.
Oh
I'm
man,
17 and 18. Last week we both did very well. I think
there you go,
we went 5-0 or maybe 4-1 last week. So
man.
we both did very well last week. Our best week of the season so far. So we're almost back to 500. We're getting closer. Me maybe a little bit more than Dale, but either way. Just teasing you, bud. All
Yeah, no,
right,
no, no, yeah, yeah.
so Broncos are favored by 9.5 points in this game, Dale.
Okay, 9.5.
Yeah,
Whew.
so I'm sure a lot of that has to do with they're expecting the Chiefs to sit a lot of guys, but who you
Yeah,
taking, the Chiefs or Broncos with 9.5 points?
yeah. Give me. Can we double up? Can I say the Chiefs by 9.5, but the Broncos win?
Sure, that's what the points are for.
There you
So
go. So give me the Chiefs, but Broncos win.
yeah,
So there,
I'd probably go in the same boat. I think 9.5, even with the backups, is a
yeah,
big margin for this Chiefs team. If
right.
it was more closer to 3 or 4, I'd probably take the Broncos, but
Yeah.
at 9.5, I'm taking the Chiefs as well. So the
Okay.
total points scored in this game, 38.5 points.
38.5 points. I'm going the under.
I am gonna go the over.
Okay.
So
Now
just
I
do
can
the
catch
opposite
up.
of
I
you.
can
I
catch
know.
up. Here we go.
Give you a chance to catch up here. So
There you go.
I think that with some of these starters being out on both, well, maybe not both sides, but especially on the Chiefs side, the Broncos might put up some points.
Yeah.
38 points. Each team is basically got to
Yeah.
score 18 points or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Actually, probably more than that. Probably closer to, well, yeah,
No,
18,
no,
18,
18.
19.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's very doable. But we'll see with some of the starters being out, they might not get there. But I'll take the over either way and see where we can
Yeah,
end up
that is
at.
probably true. I bet they could get the over. Yeah, because the starters for the Broncos are going to be playing. They've been rolling. I mean,
Yeah, the Broncos have to win to get into the playoffs.
yeah,
If they lose, they would have to hope that every other team loses as well. So they would need the Bengals and the Dolphins to both lose if they
Right.
lose in order to make it. And so they will know one of those outcomes. I
Yeah.
believe the Bengals play earlier in the day on Sunday, so they'll know the outcome of that game. But the Dolphins will be playing at the same time as the Broncos are. So either way, they're not going to
Yeah.
really know for sure if they're going to have to win this game either way.
Well,
That's the point.
this helps. The Dolphins play the Jets
Yeah.
at New York, and then the Bengals play the Steelers. And so those are both maybe not so much for Miami, but
Yeah.
that's a tough game for the Bengals to win. And so they win. Kudos to them. Maybe you shouldn't go 1-4 and quit crying about trying to get in the playoffs. I mean, gee whiz.
That's
I just like. Did Joe Burrow play all year?
Yeah, he's played all year.
Oh, so okay. Yeah, that's all. That's enough said. Gee whiz. I'm about tired of this MVP talk and how he's the greatest. And
Hey,
okay.
I'm no Bengals fan or Joe Burrow fan, but I will say he's had probably the best year of his career this year. His
Yeah.
defense has been awful, but great quarterbacks can overcome deficiencies in other areas.
That's right.
Ask Patrick Mahomes.
That's Patrick Mahomes, the
He's had
greatest
awful
quarterback.
defense for most of his career. These
Yeah.
last 2 years, the best defense he's
Right.
ever played with.
Yep.
So, yeah. But anyway, so let's talk a little bit about the playoffs here. So the potential
Okay.
matchups for the Chiefs, they're going to get a first round bye. And then, as you mentioned before, there's there's the last seed in the playoffs for the AFC has not been figured out yet. It's going to be just between the Broncos, the Dolphins, and the Bengals that we were just talking about. And so whoever wins in the first round, the lowest seed left is who the Chiefs will potentially play.
Right.
So, I mean, that could be just about anybody. I mean,
Right.
if some of these lower teams get an upset, we could play one of those three teams, but I don't expect any of those three teams to really win their first game of the playoffs. I mean, now it all could depend on matchups. Sometimes teams match up really well against other teams too. So
Right.
I'll tell you what I'd love to see. I'd love to see the Bills get knocked off. That'd be fantastic. But
So let me ask you this. Are you not worried or scared? So you would not want to play the Bills or which one would you rather least play? The Bills or the Ravens?
I think the Bills because
Okay.
I think the Bills can beat you running or passing with Josh Allen. I think the Ravens can beat you running.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying that Lamar Jackson can't throw. He can throw a little bit, but he does not have the arm that Josh Allen does.
There you go.
So there's less to worry about with the Ravens than there is with the Bills.
Okay. All right.
So take it for what you want. That's
No,
what
yeah.
I think it is.
That's your it's a free country still. And so that's your opinion.
Yeah.
You're right to it.
Are you saying you'd rather play the Ravens?
I don't know. I think I'd rather play the Bills. I think because this is the psychological warfare we have on them with like you can't beat us in the playoffs. And
you saw after the game this year, the one game the Chiefs lost to the Bills, Josh Allen did not look like he just won the game.
No.
At all. I mean, his press conference, he said, yeah, we beat him this time just like we do every time, but we beat him when it matters.
Exactly.
Like he was not convinced at all that this was a thing that was going to repeat itself.
No. And I think we're a different team, which is crazy to say. I mean, because it wasn't that long ago, but we're a different team than we were, when we played in week 10, week 11, something like that. So somewhere around there.
Yeah. With Hollywood Brown back, we got so many more options. It seems like it's just opening up the entire field, and Patrick Mahomes is trusting his offensive line again, stepping into throws. So it is, and it's working as good as it's worked all year long. So it's fantastic. Fantastic.
So, yes, it is.
All right. Hey, well, thanks for joining us this episode of the Kingdom Corner. We're so glad you came here to join us.
Yes.
Hey, make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a review and share this with your friends. That helps us as much as anything else. So this episode is brought to you by Oh Hey Threads, where a portion of every purchase goes to support missions all over the world. One super soft tee at a time. You can get your own super soft tee or hoodie, including your very own Chiefs hoodie or t-shirt. Just in time for the playoffs. You can find it online at ohheythreads.com. We'll see you next time right here in the Kingdom Corner.